Dun dun dun.
Yeah!
Awesome.
Nice work.
That
You
was
know
a
what's funny about like these
ridiculous
old
game.
games? There's no like credits.
Oh no, there isn't. Um, is there a way to
The
view
credits
the
were in
credits?
the instruction manual.
Oh, nice. Uh, so that's UFO Enemy Unknown. That was fun.
I'm impressed. I didn't think it was gonna go as well.
It was so many like lucky chances. Even with those blaster bombs, I thought I remember people telling me that those things like diverged all the time and blew up, and just like unexpected ways. But every time I used them, they just went exactly where I wanted them to,
Yep.
for the most part.
Yeah, for the
Um,
most part.
I mean, and in the end, how many people did we have left? We had like 3 people down by the bottom with the Borg Queen. So it was like Borg
Yep.
Queen and 2 others. And then we had the Kabad running around. We had 2 people with blaster launchers near the top. And Dark Flame Lol, who would have stopped being mind controlled. So he was
Yep.
still alive.
You survived, yeah.
And then there was 2 more over by the door who went, one was opening it and the one was a little further past. And I lost count. But 3, 4, 7, 9. I think 9 survived.
That's not bad.
Yeah, 9 out
Considering
of
like
22.
guys are getting mind controlled and you were just shooting them down, so
Yeah, and I hate that I had to do that, but I had no way of stopping it, and they were just going to kill my guys. So
yep.
I don't know. It probably wasn't the best strategy, but it worked. So
Yep.
whoa, I made it through.
Yeah, so what did you think? Like,
Honestly, I really enjoyed it. I think that even though it is an older game, the gameplay is really solid. Like, more solid than most games you would play now. Like,
yep.
if you talk about, like, I don't know, if I load this one, I mean, like, this whole thing, I mean, honestly, if it was modern, it would probably have a better UI, which I think would help it. But, like, it just works. Like, the base design is really intriguing. How you set up your base. You can build as many bases as you want. Placement matters. It all kind of goes together. The level of research, I think that's crazy too. How the actual progression of the game isn't actually based on combat. It's based on research. And, like, finding stuff and unlocking new abilities via the research. And if you take your time and do things a little more strategically, the game rewards you for that.
Yep.
But I think you probably could get through just by blowing everything up. But, you know, you do have to stop and at least make a few researches along the way. I don't know. It's just a pretty sweet game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you saw the extent of the difficulty to it, but I mean, even having like the permanent death in the game really plays into a key factor of it. Because when your base got attacked and your Star Trek team was like your go-to team, you didn't care about the subscriber base. Those were just like fodder guys that you were sending off because you didn't want to bother sending out your normal awesome team like your Star Trek guys.
Well,
So in the
was
base,
just because the subs hadn't got, you know, fully armored up. You know,
that's right.
Yeah. But yeah,
But
I
But
get
when
what
you
you're saying.
lost a lot of your guys in that base, like that was one of those moments where it's like, oh crap, this can actually happen. These guys can just storm my base and kill half of my actual soldiers that I've been
Yep.
using since like the beginning of the game.
Yep.
And
Well, like,
even if you think back, like when we first started doing this, like a month or two ago, and you had like James T and Spock and all those guys,
a month
and the
or
Doctor.
two ago, we started this, like, I would say about 4 or 5 months ago now.
Oh man.
No, it's been almost half a year, I think, because I think we started this LP in March, maybe.
Oh
I-
yeah. Yeah.
Like, it was spring, and it you know, it just took so long simply because we were only doing like 3 or 4 hour recording sessions every other couple weekends.
That's true.
Yeah, but no, and like, but totally, and even with the subs though, there was the time where the subscriber base got killed by those ethereals. And like just got completely annihilated, and there wasn't anything I could do, and that was the first time I truly felt like completely helpless. Because even when the base got attacked though, I still came through. Borg Queen
Yep.
took up a blaster launch, started shooting guys down. It was crazy, but
Yep.
in that the real one, it was just like, nope, there's nothing I can do here. And I think that's the only folly I have with this game, is that there are bugs in it that make the mind control stuff somewhat too powerful.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it works out in some ways, because it basically just means you have to change your strategy and you just have to rush. And you have to find every alien and kill them as fast as possible. Instead of that slow, monotonous kind of, I'm going to take my time here, let's step forward a couple steps, turn this corner, okay, let's wait with time units. When it's ethereals, just book it. Just go. Gotta find him. Gotta kill him. Even if it's like, I gotta hopefully take a shot to the chest and next turn I get to go, you gotta try it, because otherwise everyone's mind controlled and you're done.
Well, the thing about XCOM's combat is they always make you feel underpowered against the enemies that you're going against.
Yep.
Like, even at the beginning, you're just using rifles and autocannons, but you might be going up against like sectoids with like plasma rifles and grenades and stun launchers and those floater discs, and it just keeps escalating and escalating until you start getting the heavy plasma guns and you're like, all right, I got this. So then they throw mind control at you, and it's something that you've never seen before, and you can't do anything about it. And it's like, hey, you know what? We have an ace in the hole, but eventually you can get that technology too. We just didn't bother going down that path. We didn't get like the psi-amps and spend a lot of time making soldiers psionically adept. So we didn't have the technology to kind of match their thing, and that's why it felt super overpowered.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably right. I think though that psionic felt way more overpowered than them having weapons though.
Yeah, for sure.
Because having more powerful weapons, I could still evade that. Whereas mind control, I always felt like there was nothing I could do to counter it. Like I couldn't use better strategy or move differently. It was just, no, you're gonna get mind controlled, and anyone can get mind controlled. So it felt a little overpowered, but I think part of that's just like a small few bugs in the game, but it doesn't impact the overall quality, because you can still play through the entire game. And I shouldn't even be complaining, because I had a really easy run anyways. Yeah.
I think it also helped that you were pretty cautious, like for most of your missions. Like that was one thing that I didn't really learn until after playing XCOM for a while, because I would just send guys out until their time units ran out, and then, oh, that's it. But you were more conservative, and you kind of held back, so you would be ready for like the reaction fire when the enemy's turn is coming, and that really helps. And I think that's one thing that the new XCOM promotes, because you can run to cover. And like even the new one has like all these different cover mechanics and abilities to go into like Overwatch, and they kind of streamline the combat a little bit, so it's a little bit more easier to plan out, instead of being like, well, how many time units is it going to take me to get around this corner and try to get a shot off? Like, do I have enough to do that?
Yep. And I think that's good that the new XCOM has changed it around, so it's more of a, you have this many moves and this many shots, and kind of augments that a little bit. But for the most part, it's kind of like, how far you can get and still be able to get a shot. And to be fair, though, I could have done similar things. This game does allow you to do that if I would have hit the little buttons in the corner that allows me to save shots. But I just never bothered using that. And I think it is... That might have been part of the problem, is a lot of times I'd be like, I'm going to just go here, and then be like, oh, I don't have enough for a shot. If I had to use the ability, I would have known.
But yeah, unless you're calculating in your head how many time units it's going to take to move from one square to another to get to like the spot that you want to try to make it to, you don't really know. Like, you don't know how many time units it's going to take to get from point A to point B. And that's the biggest flaw about XCOM, like the one that you just went through, is you're not presented with enough information.
Yep.
And I mean, if it's not like now, and we didn't have the internet to find out all this stuff, how would you have known that you had to research like a specific type of alien, and you had to take one alive to get that information in order to...
I think though that adds a bit of the fun to it. We knew exactly how to get through it, and it almost felt like we were rushing a little bit at the end there, but not too much. But I still feel like we were kind of moving pretty quick. If you were playing this at your leisure, though, I think you would you'd probably die maybe and maybe replay a couple times and then learn as you went. And I think
Yeah.
that would increase the gameplay length of the game. I don't know how to exactly put that, but the
I think that,
playability.
yeah, that makes a
How?
lot of sense. Because if you look at the date right now, it's October 1999. The game starts in 1999. So you only got through 10 months of game time,
Yep.
which is crazy. I've gone through like 4 years on a playthrough.
Yep. And it's just
Yeah,
because probably when you played, you didn't know everything that you needed to do, so you were
that's
just
true.
exploring and finding it along the way. And I think that
Yep,
probably is something that I missed out on. But at the same time, part of this is for an LP, obviously. Well, the
yep.
entirety is this for an LP, so it kind of got to change the play style a little bit and try and
You
just,
don't want to spend 100 hours going through XCOM, seeing the same missions over and over and over again.
yeah, and trying to find why can't I get to the end of the game? How do I win this game? And just trying to
Yep.
figure that out, I think wouldn't make for a great LP series, in my opinion. Now, what I find interesting though is I thought that some people would really dislike how long it took to get through each part, but generally people seem to be fine with just watching 10 minutes of me moving guys. And not just fine with it, but really enjoyed it. Found it suspenseful and interesting. And I don't know, I find that kind of interesting. I don't know if I could have sat through and watched this LP myself, but if people enjoy it, then, cool.
Well, that's the thing about the combat too, because you're moving and you don't know what's kind of out there the first time you send that guy off that ship. It could be anything. As soon as you take your first step out the door, you could get fired upon. So it builds that tension. So even
Yep.
watching guys walk around like an open field, it's kind of entertaining because you don't know what's going to happen. Like, is this going to be that time when you walked out there and, oh man, there was 3 chrysalids in this thing, or nothing, nothing, nothing,
Yep.
you know?
Yep. And I think when I'm watching and editing it, I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, here's the point where I come to nothing, nothing, nothing. And I kind of forget
Yep,
that sometimes people are watching it and going, oh, is this going to be an alien? Oh, it wasn't. Okay. Okay.
yep.
Maybe, oh, he's getting shot. Oh, is he going to die? And I'm sort of editing it going, okay, this is the point where they miss. Yeah. So that might be why I have a skewed view on it. But I don't know. I've read a few comments as of late on the XCOM series because I've been seeing a lot more comments on it. I think of some people have been watching it through from the start over the last month or so. I've just been watching all of it. So
Yep.
I've been seeing a lot of comments, and it's just sort of like people saying like, this is the best LP I've done. It's some people aren't watching it and they're missing out, and I don't know. I don't know if I would say it's the best one I've done, but I definitely think it is pretty awesome.
It's
Yeah.
definitely different than anything else you've done.
Yeah, well, and I don't think I could have done it on my own. I think having you as sort of an advisory role, and I do air quotes as I say that, kind of helps because then I'm not just kind of blundering through trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm and in those moments of like, trying to like just do a long mission or something, I'm having a conversation with you about either game mechanics or something going on in the game, rather than
Yep.
me just going, okay, let's move this guy over here. Oh shoot, it's an alien. I do that as
Yep.
well, but there's it kind of breaks it all up and adds a bit more depth to it.
That was one of the main reasons why when you did that video to be like, hey, what game am I going to play next? And XCOM, I kept pushing for XCOM because I felt like that would be one thing that I would enjoy doing, like a co-op LP, even though it's a single player game.
Yep.
Because, well, A, I really wanted to go through XCOM again and I didn't really have the time. And this kind of gave me the excuse to either watch someone play through an entire game of XCOM or to just like remember, like, because I've visions of what the game was like when I was a kid, but man, I really haven't sat down and played it in a really long time. And I
Well,
felt like I could add like a dialogue back and forth because the game itself doesn't have anything. It's like it's mostly silent, you know what I mean? Except
yep.
for like the odd bursts of gunfire.
Well,
And
and then the eerie music,
yeah,
which we
yeah,
kind of talk over a bit, but it's still there in the background. Um, I find that interesting though, because you've just hit the nail on the head for what I consider like my favorite LPs, because that's exactly why I watch LPs, or when I had time I used to watch LPs. It is because I wanted to remember a game. Yeah. So that it's funny because that's what I really think most LPs are about, except for the odd one that obviously is just meant to be entertaining. But there's some games like this which I think have a nostalgia factor to them, and then
Yeah, for
that's why
sure.
some people watch it. Yeah.
Cool. And I mean, I love games that are really obscure. And I talk to people, and when they're like, "Hey, what's your favorite game?" And honestly, my favorite game is XCOM. And people will ask me, "Oh, what's XCOM?" I'm like, "What? Are you serious? You've never played XCOM before? You call yourself a game designer? Like, what are you doing?" And I feel like getting exposure for this game is a big win for me. Like when I saw that comment of one of your subscribers had said, I watched your LP and I had to buy this game. Like watching this made me go out and purchase it. That makes me feel good because this is something, yeah, like you should go out and play this. It's not like a first person shooter or big MMO or a game with a huge story, and you kind of build the story as you go.
Yep.
And you're seeing a lot of games like this come out now, like FTL and I don't know, like a lot of roguelike type games where you're kind of going until you die, and it's all about this experience of building your own story, and it's kind of random every time you play it.
Hmm.
It's like you could have built your base in Africa and you could have had a totally different experience, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like maybe there would have been more ships, or your base might have been attacked more than once, or I don't know.
And that's the thing is the core gameplay though is always the same, but the experience you have from that core gameplay changes drastically from player to player, and that's another reason why I really like this game as an LP, because I really like games like that are like an LP of a game that is sort of a different experience for each person. And I think all games can obviously, because they're an interactive medium, be a different experience for each person.
Yep.
But there's some games like XCOM and even Minecraft that can be very drastically different for each person to play, because it leaves it very open to how you want to try and accomplish the goals. Yeah. And I don't know, I do enjoy games like Wind Waker and stuff too that have a more linear, straight story, because then it's much easier for me as the LPer to just be able to go through and be like, okay, what are we doing today? Oh, I know, following along the railroad tracks. Here we go.
Yep.
But it also is good to do games like this, I find. I really like the ones that have kind of some sort of branching quality to them.
Yep.
So that's an XCOM rant, I suppose. It's a way to finish. I think that's pretty much all I had to say on it. Oh, UFO 89.
Oh man, it's a
Too
lot
bad.
of UFOs.
I think this is a good place to stop though. Yeah. So probably gonna do some new XCOM when it comes out, maybe.
I'm,
But
I'm hoping so. I'm gonna have my own playthrough, and whether or not you want to do a playthrough and have me comment on it, I am totally down.
yep.
Kind of sad that the only multiplayer in it is sort of like a versus mode, but that's fine.
We should try and do a couple of those too and see how that goes. Because
Yeah.
that could be somewhat entertaining. It'll be a bit weird if you're like doing stuff and then I can't see it. Cause then,
Just make sure you're Skyping it, and then I'll have your screen on my other screen, so I get to see what's
Oh,
going on for your turns, and it'll be extra entertaining because
yeah.
I'll know how to make it more entertaining. I'll be like, oh, okay, he's got a soldier up there with a sniper rifle. I'm gonna send a thin man around because it'll be cool, and then he won't know he's there, and then I'll scare him. Ha ha ha. Huh?
No.
Oh.
Um, we should also try and do something more multiplayer so that it's not just you commenting, but actually doing your own thing.
Yeah.
But that's more of a discussion for off camera.
Yep.
So I think that's pretty much it. That's XCOM. Thanks for watching,
Yeah,
guys.
let us know what you thought about, if you've been watching the whole series, and if you liked having me there. Like, I remember when I did like Minecraft and stuff. I never really played Minecraft, and I thought it would just be fun to hang out and talk about it, and it was actually pretty enjoyable. But I'm not a big fan of Minecraft, and it's not the best game for us to kind of go through. I would rather there have like an end goal other than the fact of us just trying to make up a goal as we went along.
Mm-hmm.
And even when we tried to do Neverwinter Nights, it's kind of like, yeah, this is fun. We played it a lot that one day, and then it was kind of like, I don't really want to go through it again, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks to our vast library of Steam games, I'm sure we will find something else that we will find enjoyable to play.
Okay. Right, so this is Tolhi signing out. Later, guys.
Later, guys.